Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It starts really everything starts at the beginning. Everything matters from your first initial call. One of the things that we practice is getting into flow, right? Boom, like that, right? Like for me, it's pretty easy now, right? But for a while, it took me, I've been up and down in my real estate career, so. Yeah. I really kind of have to train into, like athletes do, right? Like they put their headphones on before they go into the game, get in the zone.
So you're talking about before you go and meet with the client?
Before I even come to the office.
Okay, so we're getting really great.
Yeah. That's how I come into the office. Like I come into the office, I put my song on, whatever it is. I really try to create who I'm going to be for the day because we all have different versions of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm different with my... I like to say with my hood rat friends than I am with my mom, or somebody like that, right? So these are all different personalities that you're going to have, and then so I try to turn on hey, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a great real estate agent, and I'm going to do what's best for my client to really
So before you even getting to client conversations, before you're even having anything, you're getting pumped up for the day.
Yeah, pumped up for the day. I'm going to attack the day. That's the main thing. I always think that the day's a bully.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's always trying to mess up your day.
Bully.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
The day's a bully and you got to stand up for yourself. So it might give you a flat tire. They might tell you your escrow's canceled.
Yeah.
They might tell you whatever. And so you got to be on attack mode instead of letting it attack you. That's just kind of the way I look at it.
So what is that? Because now I'm sure people are curious. What does that look like? Because everyone's is different, right?
So for me, I have just a natural ability to smile. So I'm always kind of in that mode. So from the moment I talk to you on the phone, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing? High energy. I hope you have an amazing day. Blah blah. I'll kind of go into that. But I obviously can also I have awareness for the client. So if I'm being too much. I can turn it down really quick. So you kind of have to have a little bit of awareness.
Matching energy and mirroring people.
Yeah, a little bit. You want to be. I always like to tell people you just want to have one more cup of coffee than them.
That's what I say.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page, right? And then so there's a little bit of that, and then obviously we do ALM with online leads, right?
So let's break this down. So now you're pumped up, right, for the day. You're ready to rock and roll. So let's talk through. Let's pretend it's linear. It almost never is.
Okay.
Right. Let's pretend lead conversion is linear. So you're now pumped up for the day. You're in your office. You're like, oh my God, I am ready to take phone calls. The magic Zillow fairy pushes a button and your phone starts ringing.
Yes.
Right? So walk through that first conversation with us because I'm assuming your offer submission and offer acceptance process starts probably on that initial phone call.
Yeah.
So what does that first phone call sound like? You don't have to go through the entire thing, but let's talk. What script are you following? What are some important tidbits? What's valuable to you?
I follow ALM.
Okay.
That's number one. It's actually for me more like ANL now.
Yeah.
I really don't try to get into too much. I kind of look at it with these online leads. People have access to be able to now have chatbots. They get to talk to people whenever they want, right? And then so by the time a Zillow lead comes to you, they've already been vetted. They've already been talked to. They don't want to be the AT&T customer service person where they're like, hey, can I transfer you to somebody else? And then they ask you, what's your name, what's your phone number?
They're like action-oriented at that point, result-oriented. Okay.
Yeah, so they just want to go. So it's just, hi, my name is Jose Samano. I'm a local, realtor. I'd love to show you the property at 123 Main Street. Blah, blah, you're available today. It's always today. It's never tomorrow. It's never when. It's today.
What? It's funny you say that because what we hear a lot is people always want to do what the client wants, right? So when's a good time for you to check out that house? The customer might say in a week.
Yeah.
Right? Or they might say, I'm going to be in town next Friday. That house isn't going to be there.
It's always today.
So I'm in the same camp of hey, when would you like to see the home today? Because what are they going to say 9 out of 10 times?
Like
4:30 or 5?
Yeah. And if they give you pushback, then you ask, okay, when are you available?
Yeah. So you're always setting the appointment regardless of what it says coming from Zillow for today.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
and then from there we go into, and we use this, ALM is for all of our inbound calls.
Yeah.
So any inbound call that we have, that means
thing.
for sale signs, anything that we do inbound, that's the script. Whether it's for the office, like if we're doing flyers or things like that, right? But everything's inbounds like that. When we outbound call, we use a different script called LP Mama, Team Playbook. You've heard of this?
Similar.
Yep. And then so we'll go over that kind of stuff. And then I break it down into location. So location is 3 different things for me.
Yeah.
So the first one is going to be, what other homes have you seen online that you would also like to add to this tour so we can take advantage of your tour?
Why do you want to show them multiple houses?
Because the more houses you show, the more chances you have to write an offer. Okay. And actually, I'm pretty good at writing an offer on the very first showing.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's a telltale sign. If I get 3 to 5 homes on the very first showing,
Sure.
I'm writing an offer.
Yeah.
That's just
So your magic number is between 3 and 5.
3 and 5.
Because I think a lot of the time what ends up happening with folks is they go out and show one house, customer doesn't like it,
Correct.
and now they're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Right. So remembering that, okay, so 3 to 5 is a magic number. The more houses we can get them into, the better.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually shopping at that point. If you're just going to go to one house, you're just kind of like showing that one house.
Sure.
And at this point, I'm just trying to build rapport with them.
Sure.
To hopefully get that second appointment.
Okay.
Right?
So this is still on first call. You've set up multiple showings.
Yeah.
Right?
So the second question is always, what did you love about this property? And then this is my third question, and I always do them in this order, right? And then so my third question is, hey, you know what? Is it okay if I were to pull up similar homes around the same neighborhood that have a pool, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, that match your characteristics? That way you can compare and contrast and get a better feel for the neighborhood.
So why is that important? Why do you do that?
Because it's like if I get a no first, then I still have a chance to get a yes on the second
it.
try.
Okay.
So I kind of layer it like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't really look at it through the lens of like consumers have access now to
Correct.
everything. They can
Yeah.
see everything. That doesn't mean it's not difficult for them to search for a home.
That doesn't mean that they know it.
Yeah.
It just means they just have a bunch of information. So I always kind of frame it in a way of like, my nephews, like they know how to play basketball. They're 5, but
Yeah.
they still grab the ball and they double dribble and then they're like.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a similar thing. They know, they see HGTV, they hear it, they see all of our posts,
Sure.
so they kind of have an idea, but they need somebody to kind of break that down for them and give them a pack.
So it's almost like you're providing value by saying, hey, I'm going to do the homework for you
Yeah.
and send you over some options.
Correct. Yeah, I personally don't send them to them because I like to take control.
Yep.
I've noticed that if I do send them to them, right away they go, I don't like them. And then I create my own objection because then they're like, this person doesn't know what I like.
Yep.
Right? And I don't.
It creates like an unconscious negative bias.
Yeah. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to take the properties and then we can, in person, it's an easier conversation to have if I'm not picking the right property.
Okay. So let's paint a hypothetical then. So this is great. So you've now had that initial conversation. You've now taken customer out, right? Let's make it a little more realistic where let's say you showed them 3 houses, weren't super into it, had to move on, wanted to go see more properties.
Yeah.
So now we're on like the second weekend, let's call it, which is probably more often than not normal.
One thing I do though, to just get a little bit more granular,
Yeah.
right? So I say my name right away. I say
At
my
the
name.
show?
No, on the first call.
Okay.
I say my name when I finish, and they get a text message from me right after I finish. So that's 3 times already.
Yeah.
Then I tell the client, I'm gonna call you back in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I know that sounds crazy because people are like, how am I gonna book the appointment in 5 to 10 minutes? Even if you don't book the appointment, I still call the client back because it gives me another touch. It gives me a 4th touch.
Yep.
Right? So, and then it also allows me to create what's called a micro agreement. So I just kind of put a little agreement like, hey, I'm going to call you in 5 minutes, pick up your phone. Right? And then I start kind of like creating this little trail of them following kind of my direction.
That's persuasion 101.
Okay.
Right. So like that is the complete ethos of like sales psychology is I guess you should just try to be this way as a human in general. Not even just in sales scenarios, but like if you say you're going to do something and you do it,
Correct.
and customers had its checkbox, Jose's a man of his word, I like this guy, right?
Correct.
It might not seem super monumental, but when you really break it down, enough of those,
It makes a difference.
Yeah, 100%. That is how you build rapport.
I tell people I don't have the same problems you have.
Yeah.
Right? So the way I communicate with my clients and the way that I do my process allows me to get rid of a lot of the situations that other people have.
Sure.
I don't have my clients missing appointments. I don't have
Yeah.
my clients communicate. And another thing that I do is I communicate with my clients right away because I'm starting a relationship with you.
Sure.
If I communicate within 5 minutes of you texting me or in a minute, then you and I give each other that boundary.
That establishing two-way communication.
Yes.
Right?
If I take an hour, then you're going to take an hour and a half to call me back.
And then they're like driving down the freeway and little Timmy just ate a Hot Wheel and now the text message is going to get lost.
Correct.
That's a problem, right?
Correct.
All right, cool. So we've established that you're now at the property, right?
Cool.
Let's talk a little bit about how your kind of, I guess, showing process looks, right?
Yeah.
Because in my brain, getting offers accepted starts initial appointment, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to kind of set a precedent of what's going to be realistic.
Well, for me, getting my offer accepted starts making the phone call to the listing agent.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so that's my next step,
Yeah.
right? So now you finish the appointment with the client. Now it's time to call the listing agent.
To schedule the showing.
To schedule the showing. So again, we're professional sales athletes.
Yeah.
So we have the same swing every time.
Yeah.
Right?
So you've got a script for this.
Yeah, of course.
So this is where I would probably say, let's break this down and go through it.
Yeah.
Like let's almost mock do it.
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
Cool.
So a few things that we know, right? Listing agents love to be complimented on their
Yeah.
photos. They love to be complimented on their pricing
Everything.
strategy. Yeah, everything. You know, because you guys are the kings. Listing agents. Hey, accept my offers, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then so you know, our script goes something like, hey, you know, my name is Jose Samano. I'm a local agent. I came across your property. Beautiful photos, by the way, Chris. It looks like you priced this property really well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a ton of offers. When are you going to be presenting them?
You know what? We're kind of playing it by ear and presenting them as they come in.
Okay, so
We've
you're
had
not currently working with any?
No, not yet. We've had a couple come in and a couple are circling, but we're kind of presenting them as they come in, and yeah.
Gotcha. Well, look, so I always kind of say, when are you going to be presenting them instead of like assuming that you already have offers?
Yeah.
Because if I ask you how many offers you have initially,
Yeah.
you're going to give me pushback.
Too hot.
Yeah, so
Coming
it's
too hot.
yeah, I'm coming. Yeah.
Coming too hot.
I was going to say something else, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then so I'll kind of frame it like that, and then I'll say, okay, cool. I mean, is there any particular thing that the seller's looking for, like rent back? You know, are they contingent? Do they need this or that? And obviously, I also want to have high energy, right? When I'm calling the listing agent.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing? You know, I'm a local agent. And then the agents are like, do you know me?
Yeah.
I'm like, I
No,
will.
I will. Let's work together.
Yeah, in escrow. And so people want to work with joyful people. I don't want to work with somebody that's like, hey, Chris, how you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like.
You know what's funny? This is super important. I've seen recently with like listings and stuff we've sold for our family,
Yeah.
where we got 8 offers on a property we sold in Claremont, right?
Yeah.
You know how many of those 8 called before they sent the offer in?
Yeah, like none.
1.
Yeah,
And
there-
guess which one we accepted?
That one, yeah.
That one, right?
Yeah.
The act of calling, I think people become afraid or like they see a barrier, right? Because sometimes in MLS description it'll say like, don't call, only text, right? Or
So-
all this stuff.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Read the you know, you want to read the description, showing
Yeah.
remarks, because if the agent says, don't call me to schedule an appointment, the first thing I say, hey Chris, I'm not calling you to make an appointment. I want to know a little bit more about the process.
Yeah.
Like I read into it, like I'm not just, you know, just kind of glancing over it.
So this is what you're talking about, and coming at them from like one, a happy place,
Yep.
right? Coming at them from a live and full of energy place, and
Yep.
2, coming at them from the perspective of what's valuable for your customer.
Correct.
Right? So here's what I would challenge. I have a feeling there's probably quite a few agents on this call that might not be super experienced.
Correct.
So if you were an agent that was trying to figure out what is valuable to a seller, what types of things would you be trying to learn about right now? Because you fired off like, are they looking for a rent back?
Yeah.
Are they looking for this? What are those things that you're asking about so that the newer agents will understand?
So the first thing is I'm trying to figure out a negotiation already. Like I'm already negotiating for my client, even though the listing agent doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm already saying like, how soon of an escrow do you want? Do you want a fast escrow? Do you want a long escrow? Do you want a high deposit? Do you want a high, you know, like do you want cash offer? Right. Because I'm already trying to identify what strategy I'm going to be utilizing in my offer
Sure.
to get my offer accepted. So I do that initially. So it's building rapport with the listing agent. It's, you know,
So you're saying building rapport by way of complimenting them about their listing.
of course,
Right?
who doesn't like a compliment?
I know, I get it, right? So coming at them from a point of complimenting their listing, being super high and full of energy and stuff, and then you're digging into what terms are important to your seller.
Correct, terms.
I think that agents are afraid to ask those things.
Of course,
because
yes.
sometimes you might not get an answer you want.
Well, it's because you don't have a script and you don't practice it. So that's why you're afraid, because you're not confident in your conversation.
Can you send us your script?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So for everyone on this call, afterwards we'll get that script out so everyone has it and
Yeah.
they can take the same swing every time.
Yeah, it's super easy. And honestly, agents that have been here for like a month or two,
Yeah.
people are like, how long have you been in the industry? And they're like, they get calls like this all the time. They're like, you're so professional. Like, you really kind of like.
Yeah.
And another thing is, you don't want to hang in there too long. Listing agents are busy.
Yeah.
You want to just do this quick, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, boom, you're out. Right?
So what are you trying to figure out? If you say, hey, I left this conversation with X, Y, and Z, what are those things? When
So-
you say I want.
Okay, so to finish off the conversation, I'll say like, you know, are you looking for a rent bag? Meaning like, is your seller possibly moving out of state, right? Is your listing contingent? Do they have to buy another home, right? That gives me an idea how long of an escrow, what to write into the agreement to give me an opportunity, right? And then the last thing that I do is like, you know, excuse me for the 21 questions.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds very familiar, right? Excuse me for the 21 questions, but you know, I'm not just trying to write any offer, I'm trying to run a winning offer. What does that look like? So I throw it back on you.
Yep.
Right? And then hopefully you can give me some info, you can give me some more details on that.
That's awesome. And for everyone that's listening right now, I would think about it like this. This industry is sometimes very frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that a lot of agents go up against other agents and like think it's like mutual combat.
Yeah, correct.
It's not.
It's not. You need to work with each other.
You need to work with each other. And sometimes you might get friction on the other end, but that doesn't mean give up.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean stop trying to find an angle, right?
Yeah.
I think in my opinion, that call is just as much a sales call as any other conversation you're going to have in the entire transaction.
I treat listing agents like my buyers or sellers.
Same thing.
Same thing. So as soon as I finish with the call, guess what? I send them a text. Hey, here's my information. At this time, at this day, I'm going to go and check out the home. And then I always finish with, is it okay, Chris, if I could give you some feedback about the property? I'll make sure to lock the doors, turn the lights off, and lock all the windows, you know, blah, blah. And then they always want feedback.
That's brilliant. The important thing to remember here is just if you get initial pushback, that doesn't mean stop.
No.
Because if you show up to that showing with your customer, with your client, and you're not prepared to talk about what it's going to take for this property, you're not putting your client in the best position to actually win.
Correct.
So failure almost isn't it's not an option.
Correct.
And sometimes you're going to get a lot of friction before you get any answers, right?
Correct.
So to Jose's point, you got to keep coming back at them.
Yep. And then so, you know, I'll finish off with that, send them the text, boom, now we're going to, so I've already kind of negotiated the deal, because like, let's say if they tell me we have multiple offers, I'll ask them kind of where they're at, you know, kind of get a feel for it. I always kind of have a rule, you know, like in my mind, you should have an idea, because you should be able to recognize the pattern. So it's 2 days on the market, they have multiple offers, like 5 or 10 offers. What number should you be at, right? And then so in your mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be 15, 30K above if I have that many offers on the table. So those are things that I kind of have in my mind. And once I show up to the property, if the client is by himself, I'm doing a walkthrough with them. If the client has a significant other or multiple people in the family, I do ask them, hey, would you like to have a private tour yourselves, or would you like to have a guided tour?
So you're asking for preference. Okay.
Or a guided tour. Do you want me to kind of guide you around? It might be their second home they buy, so they don't need you as much as you think they do.
What percentage of the time do they want you to show them, and what percentage of the time do they want to do it themselves?
I would say the majority of the time they want to do it themselves, because it's kind of weird walking into the like the bedroom with them. You know, it's like, hey, I'm telling you, you know, you can have your bed right here.
This is where the magic
happens. This is a love couch. You know, like, oh shit, okay. So I kind of leave it alone like that. Now I am close enough to hear them, but not close enough to hear their whispers.
Got it.
So I'll be like in the hallway.
So you're giving the customer the privacy to have like an actual conversation about
between each other.
Now, out of curiosity, do you let your clients know? Because I heard someone else bring this up recently too. Do you let your clients know that there's like a strong probability in the house that they're being like listened to?
I haven't gone over that with them yet.
Oh, did I tell you my story with this? This is hilarious. This is a complete little sidetrack, but it's fun.
I've heard that before though, because I've seen the cameras in the house.
So we had an agent, the last brokerage I was running, that showed a property down in Newport Coast, $2.6 million, right? And didn't give the client like a, hey, you might want to be careful in the house might be bugged. Client was upstairs, right, in like a nursery, and there was a picture frame on this like little bookshelf, right, and it was a newborn baby. And the customer got like this close to the picture frame and said, oh my God, what an ugly baby.
Oh,
right?
Jesus.
There was a nanny cam right next to it that was like hidden. Right? So when the agent called the other agent to talk about writing an offer, they're like, yeah, my seller's not even going to talk to your people. Like, they have them on camera saying their child is ugly. So I always would give customers like an idea that, hey, got to be careful. We got to assume everyone's listening because ring cameras.
All children are beautiful, guys.
Yeah,
all children are beautiful.
Yeah.
Mine especially.
So you're Shola. So you are now in the property with these folks. Gave them a walkthrough, got everything cracking. Now what?
So now there's only 4 things that happen at a showing. hey, I want to know a little bit more
I would
about the
write this down.
process. I want to know a little bit more about the process. I want to know, how this goes. That's buyer's presentation. Hey, I don't know the payment. I don't know what programs I qualify for, blah, blah, blah. That's loan consultation, right? And you always want to do it, bring them back to the office is number 1. 2 is Zoom. 3 is phone call, right? In that order. And then, because the more you have them in front of you, the more chances you have of closing them, right? And then the next one is going to be, they want to write an offer. The way I navigate the offer conversation, I'm going to give you guys a little script, and I'm also going to, because I started scripting everything.
Yeah, good.
Okay? So I have the same swing every time.
Yeah.
Again, Tiger Woods doesn't go up and go, today I'm going to hit it
Screw
with
it.
the left.
I'm going to try again.
Just fuck it. Let's just see how we do. And then the third one's going to be, let's say they want to write an offer, and I'll say, hey, what did you think about this home? Did you like it? Did you love it? What did you think? Right? And then the person's like, I loved it. Does it really feel like home to you? Does it speak to you?
So you're selling it in a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a triple close, right?
Yeah.
I need you to say yes, 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 yes to me, right? So then you're in, right? And then I'll say something like, why don't we get the conversation started with the seller? Instead of me saying,
let's write an offer.
Exactly.
Why? Because that little piece right there is kind of a line. I forgot we used to work together for a long time.
Yeah.
All these ideas sound so
great.
great.
Yeah, so great.
So that conversation right there is important because I think what happens is 2 things. 1, agents are afraid to ask for the close.
Correct.
The best salespeople are not pushy. They just ask for the close.
Yeah.
Right? They ask for the opportunity. So the difference between saying, let's write an offer and let's get a conversation started with the seller. Why the difference there, and why is that so important?
Because contracts and offers resembles commitment, conversation doesn't. People don't like to be committed, especially if they just met you. They don't want to be like, oh my god, I'm tied into this deal and I've got to work with this guy. And so it just creates a different frame.
I think so. When we think about how people learn about buying houses, right? So how do people typically learn about buying houses?
Either through an agent or online.
They're watching HGTV House Hunters International episodes from 1995. So when they hear right offer, they're like, well, that means they get it. Right? We're going to write $50K under ask price and we're going to get it, right? It's a completely warped perspective. So what Jose just said right there is super valuable because it takes all of the pressure off of the customer, right? Not, hey, well, if you guys like this, let's write an offer. It's, hey, so if this feels like home to you guys, why don't we talk about getting a conversation started with the other party?
Exactly.
Right? It's the same thing. It's just in different words. Okay, so that is your going for the close question.
Correct. That is my going for
Keep
the
going.
and it works like a charm.
Okay.
If you've never used it, use it a lot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good for you. Then I go into what I call DDAA.
Yeah.
So I go down payment, deposit, and then I go agreement and appointment.
Okay.
Right? So I'll say something like, hey, Chris, so how much of a down payment are you comfortable in putting?
You're doing this on the spot.
Yeah, on the spot, if I get an idea that you're good to go, I'm not gonna ask you for a pre-approval yet. I'm gonna ask you for a pre-approval once I need to have a pre-approval.
So this is different in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Yeah.
This is different in a good way because I think what happens is you guys ever heard shoot or shoot, right? Capture momentum while it's hot.
Yeah.
The customer is never going to be more motivated to write an offer on that house than when they're in it with you right then and there on the spot. So if they say, yeah, Jose, we're interested in getting a conversation started, you're going straight for what do I need, what blanks do I need to fill in on this contract?
Yeah, and that's why I created that form or that process because what I was finding, the client was saying, I'm interested, and I go, okay, well, I'm going to go to the office and write the offer.
Yeah, let me call you in an hour.
Yeah, what the fuck? Sometimes 15 minutes makes a difference. They call Bob, Uncle Bob, and then Uncle Bob was like, oh no, in 1980 I bought a house for $70K.
Yeah.
What the fuck,
This is the important thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think enough real estate agents think of themselves as salespeople.
No.
This is sales. This is all this is.
Yeah.
Right? This is when the customer's motivated. You're not taking advantage of a situation. It's just capturing momentum and emotion.
You're still going to go through the process. It doesn't mean you're skipping anything.
They're still going to get the full level of service. It's just they're motivated. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, I read a book by Jeb Blunt called Inked. It's Pipeline Velocity.
Yeah.
Right, and utilizing stages in your pipeline to move people faster. Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you go to a restaurant, you want dessert first. You don't want the steak first or the salad. Right. And so the customer's always right. So If my customer comes in and goes, I want dessert, I'm like, fuck it, here, have it.
Yeah,
you know?
eat it.
Eat it. Yeah,
Butter
here you
cake,
go.
run it.
Yeah, run it. You
Yeah.
know? We'll have the salad later, bro. Don't
Yeah.
even worry about it, right? So
That's interesting. That just blew my mind wide open.
Oh, cool.
Because that conversation, having that on the spot, it's just capturing all the momentum right then and there on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even saying, hey, let's go back to my office, why don't you follow me? It's right then and there on the spot, you're filling in the blanks.
Yeah, and then so I'll finish with, so how much of a down payment are you comfortable with? I always tell them the deposit because they never know. They're like, oh, well, my deposit's 20%. And then you're like, no, it's not that. So I want to kind of get the word no out of my vocabulary at this point. So I'll say something like, okay, well, deposits typically 1 to 3% of the purchase price.
Sure.
So this home is at $700,000.
Yep.
So that 10K or 15K deposit, I remember the deposit is going to go into your down payment. So it's not money that you're losing, right? And then we'll go into, look, Chris, it's super important for you to understand what you're signing,
Sure.
what strategy we're going to be utilizing, and how I'm going to be protecting you throughout this transaction and make this bulletproof for you. So, do you have a few minutes to go back to my office? Remember, office, Zoom, call?
So this is, again, very important to kind of dissect. So you're having that conversation, you're filling in the blanks, you're getting them pumped up and motivated,
Yes.
right? Ideally, they leave that appointment and go back to the office with you.
Yeah.
That right there is a difference maker.
Oh, yeah, because I'm like 80%, 85% at this point shooting.
Yeah, that part right there is super important because I think what happens is people become afraid almost of like losing the momentum, I guess. So it's like, well, what's the fastest, most definitive way for me to write an offer right now?
Correct.
Right? So get my card, power up my mobile hotspot, get on my laptop. It's like, no. Keep a bottle of wine at the office, right? Six-pack of beer.
Yeah.
Take them back to the office and get cracking right then and there on the spot, right?
That's kind of what I do. I've played with let's do it right here. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause
You're going over like
standing.
financial documents on the hood of your car.
Yeah, that's weird, So I just feel like it's more comfortable at the office. If they say, you know what, I do have another appointment, no worries. I'm gonna go back to the office, write the offer, I'll email it to you, and then I want to go over this together. And then so that just gives me an opportunity. Now I have a client writing offers.
Yeah.
So I don't have a client showing homes, right? If I would have stopped him from that momentum, I would have stayed in the appointment met stage.
Now, do you see ever, so you've got the client now to this writing offer stage and you've written it, do you find with, it's like a fast pass at Disneyland, dude, I love it.
Yeah, it's fucking fast. Yeah.
Do you find that the customers sometimes get spooked at all? Right?
No, so what
Where
you mean?
They oh, hey, Tito, we were looking at the offer and I feel like we're moving so fast and blah, blah. Do they ever get afraid? And if that's happening, because I have a feeling that some folks have probably had that happen before.
Oh, yeah.
How do you prevent that from happening or how do you talk that client off that ledge?
Perfect. I love this question.
Yeah.
Because I always say, if you get fast into escrow, you fall fast out of escrow.
Okay.
So
good.
that's always a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I one time opened 5 escrows, I think, or 4 escrows when I was at Remax. And the first day on the first month, that was my record month, 17 Zillow transactions.
Jesus.
Right? And then so all of them fell out of escrow. And I was like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah.
Right? And then so going too fast or going fast like this doesn't mean you're going to skip the entire process. Right?
Yeah.
So you still need to eat your salad and steak.
I like the analogy of that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think this comes back to the idea of if you go into an appointment with the full expectation that your customer's going to buy the first house they see, guess what happens? If they want to eat their dessert first, you're there with them ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Right? You're seeing the opportunity kind of present itself.
Yes, and then so now I'm gonna have the time to go over the offer with the client. We're gonna, go over every detail. Hey, here's your deposit. Here's the date that we're writing the offer. Here's the address. Hey, here's your down payment. Here's your deposit.
So you're doing this ideally like this.
Yeah, in front.
We're
Yeah.
sitting here, arm around them,
Yeah.
laptop up. You're showing them everything.
Yep.
Cool.
I even love printing it because the magic of signing
with a pen.
It's a thing.
Couple little quick hacks here because I've been in this camp before too.
Yeah.
Ways you can make that process easier. One of the things that comes to my mind first is sometimes people will have kids with them and shit.
Yeah.
Right? So having a little, remember at Remax we had a little playground almost.
Yeah.
Right? Some blocks and some toy cars and stuff. Something to pacify children. That can also be Bluey on TV. Right?
Yeah, I got Disney Plus.
Yeah, something going to pacify the kids, right? And then something for the adults to do too, right? We used to have an emergency 12-pack and a couple bottles of wine.
A little bit more than 12 packs.
But the customers would come back to the
Yeah,
office.
yeah.
It's cool. End of the day, most of the people are seeing property after 5 o'clock. They're tired. What's their normal routine? Can I get you a beer or a glass of wine? right?
Correct.
It's just making the process easier, helps the medicine go down.
Correct. So now I go over the offer with them, right? We're going over the offer, and then I say, hey, well, now that I have you here, let's go over the buyer's presentation. So I bring them all the way back to the beginning.
Okay, that's valuable. So
Yeah.
even if they've gotten all the way over that finish line and that buyer presentation
I still
doesn't
need to
happen
cover my
yet,
steps.
you're bringing them all the way back.
Yeah.
That right there is how you prevent them from feeling like they're being rushed.
Exactly.
You're plugging the holes in the boat because the boat might
Exactly.
have a couple holes in it right now if they've jumped and skipped steps.
That's exactly
So you're
it.
bringing them all the way back.
All the way back, and so we go through the logistics of purchasing a home, about getting pre-approved. We go through all of those motions and ensuring that the client kind of understands that process. And then so now we have the offer. Now we've gone over the entire buyer's consultation, and I'll say, hey, by any chance, Chris, are you pre-approved, or
Yeah.
do you have the pre-approval paperwork? Because now that we've written the offer, we need to get it accepted.
So this is different than most processes you can even see online and stuff. About
Yeah.
Never show a house unless the client's pre-qualified.
No.
Never show the house unless the code, blah, blah, blah. You don't care, you're saying.
Yeah, no, because what? Okay, so I want to move my client into. I want to have as many clients writing offers. Or do you guys want clients that are showing houses?
No, writing offers.
I want offer clients.
Yeah.
If you want showing clients, you could be my showing agent. I'm looking for some.
Yeah.
But if you want clients that are writing offers, you need to focus on getting people to write offers. Now, at this point, let's say you're not pre-approved. If I call my buddy Bob, let's say, and I say, hey Bob, I have a client that already wrote an offer for $900,000. I know you're the lender. Do you have 5 minutes? You know what he's gonna do? He's like, yes, I have 5 minutes. He only wants to work with people that are serious. He doesn't want to pre-approve somebody and then they get ghosted for 6 months.
Yeah.
So my lenders always pick up my phone because they know I'm calling typically because there's money on the line.
This is important to kind of dissect a little bit because I hear a lot of pain around this. Like lenders are a necessary thing in a lot of real estate transactions,
Correct.
right? And a lion's share of them. And a lot of the time we hear agent gets client to finish line, right? And then lender isn't available on the weekend, right?
Mhm.
Or lender doesn't pick up the phone on a Thursday at 4 o'clock when you got to write an offer. So what are you looking for in your lending partners to really, because this is part of your conversion now.
Yeah, he's got to be my partner. That's number
Yeah.
one. So I try to have a conversation with them and really kind of set the expectation. Hey, you're going to start working with somebody who's going to get you a lot of at-bats. And so I'm going to need you to be available. Like
Yeah.
if I call you, unless, if you can't pick up, it's okay. Just know that I'm going to go to somebody else.
I'm going to call someone else.
Yeah. Like I'm working at a fast pace. I need you to keep up.
You keep saying fast, right? And I
Yeah.
think that is so important to highlight because what I don't think a lot of people, there's like this misconception right now in the industry that these transactions take forever. That taking a client from inception to in escrow is this big, long, drawn out process.
No.
It's not, right?
No.
It's just getting them through these steps faster, right? I think people almost make it unnecessarily painful for themselves
Yeah.
by overcomplicating this stuff.
Yeah, like-
it doesn't have to be. What I'm learning from our conversation right now is that conversion isn't linear.
No.
Sometimes they skip steps, and you just have to be smart enough to see the step, right?
We
Or
don't work
awake enough.
Yeah. You have to be aware enough to understand because sometimes I will kind of okay. Well, let's go to the office and get pre-approved, and
Yeah,
then we'll go through.
slow down a little
Yeah,
bit.
slow down. It just depends on the client, right?
Yeah.
But if he's giving me a gimme, like come on, bro. Like he
Like,
told me he
let's go.
loves the house. He sees himself living in it, and it speaks to him, And I got that from Sandy D'Angelo. Shout out.
I remember being at showings with new agents when we were first kind of getting this whole
Mhm.
thing figured out. And like, do you like the house or do you want to burn it down? That was
Yeah.
always my favorite
Yeah.
question to ask. They're like, we love it. And I remember sitting there like kicking the agent.
Yeah, like, say
ask
something.
them,
Yeah.
ask them, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So conversion's not linear, it's all a speed thing. So now you're on the spot with these folks, they're in the office, they're writing this offer, you've
Yes.
got the lender involved in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
Out of curiosity, just for everyone on this call, what percentage of the time do you get a customer to that point, right, where they come through with a pre-approval, and what percentage of the time they come through without one?
I haven't really kind of put a percentage, but I would probably say 40% of them are already pre-approved. They've already been shopping around,
Okay.
and they just never met anybody that actually
Got it.
was that assertive,
Yeah.
right, and
Close it.
confident, and close. Like I'm like literally like, come here, bro. We're gonna
Yeah.
go this way.
We're going this way.
Yeah, we're going this way. Don't worry. And then so.
So 60% of these folks, you have the ability to steer them and connect them with someone that you know is going to work at the level you want.
Yeah, I tell them, look, dude, it takes 15 minutes to get pre-approved. I just need an application, W-2s, pay stubs, and bank statements,
Yeah.
and I'll have an answer for you in 30 minutes to an hour.
So we talked about this briefly on one of the previous lives. You used to be a lender.
Yeah.
So that stuff fires off out of your brain instantly.
Yeah.
I've now heard two top performing agents, you and AJ Chopra,
Of course.
talking about lead conversion and the lending component being super important.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important for newer agents or people that are maybe just new to converting online leads to really understand the financing part to be effective?
We have a luncheon led every Wednesday, and we teach agents in our office to become lenders, but not become lenders. Don't get your license.
Yeah.
Just become a lender, right? So we have a luncheon. We call it a luncheon learn.
So if someone's in Southern California and wants to come to that, Jose's office is in Anaheim. I'm sure it's great.
And we got food too.
Okay, cool. Good. So the lending part, in your opinion, is just as important to conversion as all these other conversations.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys an easy hack.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the hack?
Right, so if you get somebody's income, divide by 2, add a 0, that's how much they qualify for. So if you make 120, at 60, add a 0, 600, you're at 600,000. If you're gonna buy a condo, now you're at 550.
Yeah, with HOA and stuff.
So I could just, if I'm able to answer that question from a client, like if I'm in a conversation with a client and he tells me how much he makes, I automatically understand where they're at, and stuff like that.
Let's talk about, so
let's say I'm having a full conversation with the actual client, because we went kind of like the client wrote the offer.
Where I want to go,
Okay.
and I think it's important, that's right along the lines of what you're thinking, is like a lot of the time we now have to sell the customer. So we've had a conversation with the listing agent. We understand what good looks like.
Correct.
Right? Now we have to come back to the customer
Yes.
to sell them on, in this market,
Yes.
sometimes they got to come up, right? They got to waive certain contingencies or these types of things.
Oh, I'll give you my favorite.
Is that a sales conversation?
I do what's called a third-party close. If I'm meeting you for the first time,
Okay.
right? So we're talking about right now somebody actually just moving fast and writing an offer, right? But if we're having a real conversation, we're gonna do LP Mama and that, because that's my discovery conversation that I'm having with the client, right? And then but let's go back into this. So one of the things that I said when scheduling properties, I said, can I give you a call back with some feedback after my appointment?
Yeah.
So that plants the seed to the listing agent that I may call him.
Yeah.
So it increases my probability of them answering. So I'm at the list. I'm at the showing with you, and you like the house, and let's say the house is above the asking price, right?
Yeah.
Like they're at 530. I'm not gonna tell the client if I'm meeting you for the first time, like, hey Chris, you're gonna have to go up 30K above the asking price.
So that kills deals.
That kills deals.
Fast.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't trust you. They don't know who you are. They think you're a shark.
Yeah.
Right. So what do? I do something called a third-party close, right? So I'm gonna call the listing agent. I'm gonna see if he picks up, and I'm gonna try to get some insider information on this deal.
And you're sitting there on speakerphone.
I'm sitting there on speakerphone.
I
So
love
I'll call the listing agent and be like, hey, Mr. Listing Agent, how are you? You know, my client loves the house. He really is trying to entertain this home. And so, I'm really trying to figure out a number to come in at. How many offers did you say we're working with? Jose, 6, I already kind of told you. And then I'll be like, all right, well, look, I have a super strong client. He's already fully pre-approved. He knows the process. So I'm raising your expectation by saying that to you, even though I'm indirectly talking to you, right? And then I'll say something like, what if he comes in at 689? Do you think that would work? No, Jose, I'm at 730. 689 is not going to work. All right, cool. What if he comes in at 715? I can short my contingencies. I can meet all the requirements that you're asking me. He's coming in with a strong 3.5% down payment. 660 FICO score. Like, we could get this closed and wrapped up. My lender could do this in 12 days. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So the client is now experiencing the negotiation with me. From that point on, whether he gets his offer accepted or not, he trusts me completely. Which is what I do on every single transaction.
I think that's so valuable because I think keeping buyers, especially in the market this competitive, keeping them in the game is half the battle. Yeah. Right? Because they're used to what? How often do you get a customer that's been through a couple of different agents that's gotten their ass kicked in terms of offers and stuff? Does that happen pretty frequently?
Yeah, I mean, it happens, like they don't get their offers accepted.
So in knowing that, keeping them motivated to continue experiencing pain to get their house, right, that devilifies you.
Exactly.
It makes the listing agent, that's who we're working against. I'm on team buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're having that conversation on the spot with the client listening.
Yeah, not every single time, but whenever if I have a client that's like, Jose, I want this, I'll offer $750, I'm not having that conversation.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's a client that I know is coming in below and I have to help him understand, because he's not going to believe me.
Yeah.
So
real estate agents are lower on the totem pole of trusted professionals than used car salesmen and plumbers.
Correct.
Right? Everyone's gotten screwed by a plumber at some point.
Correct.
Right? So it's one of those things where that's a little hack to keep your name untarnished. That keeps you in the correct light by making it the other guy's fault.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Yep. And same thing when a client, when somebody says, like if you have an agent send you, like, hey, you know, if a listing agent sends it to you by text, I take a screenshot, I send it to my client, and I go, look, this is what they said.
Yeah.
You know,
it's this guy. It's not me.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't know
me.
what happened.
And then I'll make the phone call.
So you've now got the client. Let's say offer's signed. We're ready to submit this thing.
Cool.
They just hit sign on the offer on the DocuSign. You just got the notification. What happens next?
So again, once I show the house, let's say the client writes the offer, I'm texting the listing agent or calling them or some sort of touch. So, hey, listing agent, I'm going to show your house at this time. Hey, listing agent, my client likes the house, expect an offer from me. Hey, listing agent, my client signed the offer.
You're pinging him with all this.
Yeah, I'm pinging him.
Constantly.
Text of course, message. I want him to fucking... By the time we finish this, he's going to know who the hell I am.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to know, like, I'm touching him 6 times. Now, it's subtle touches. Don't get all crazy with it, you know? Yeah. So subtle touches, right? And then another thing that I do once I submit an offer, I always ask the listing agent when I can call him back. I don't just call him. Yeah, it's always hey, you know what? I know that your offers are due Thursday. Can I give you a follow-up call on Wednesday? Just because I
asking for permission.
Asking for permission.
That's persuasion in itself too.
Correct. Now, if it's too long of a gap, I like to throw in a little like, hey, I hope you're having an amazing day today. Go crush it. Love your listing, by the way. It's me, Jose.
You know what I saw recently, and I'm curious if you've ever done this? One of my friends, Cody Rowe, who's a badass agent, he'll like send like a Starbucks gift card randomly, like a $5 Starbucks gift card, and he's like a total sweetheart, so he can kind of get away with this stuff. But it's like, hey, real estate's hard. Hopefully this makes it a little easier. Looking forward to working with you. Drink a coffee on me. Right.
It works, man. I mean, people like to work with nice, joyful people. Like, who likes to work with somebody that's an ass, you know? Like, nobody does.
I've done it.
Yeah. So, you know, whatever you can do it's all about networking. It's about who you know and having those relationships with people. But that's all part of it. And, you know, now if I'm, let's say, putting the offer together, you know, I'm going to say thank you. You helped us with our... offer submission checklist from the email template. So we have an email template that we utilize. We have a cover sheet that we put together.
Can we give that to all of our friends on this call too?
Yeah.
Okay,
cool. And then we also have we make our lenders also have a cover sheet.
Yeah.
Right. So they have a cover sheet with you know, the reviews, who they are, their team, their process, whatever it is.
Just a quick little brag sheet.
Yeah. And then we'll go into another pet peeve of mine is signatures. So a lot of you guys, for whatever reason, still use Word for your signature. It just looks unprofessional.
Oh, when they like type out the person.
Yeah, like Jose Samano.
Use DocuSign.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about at the bottom of your signature when you're sending your email out. It just says like Jose Samano.
Oh, agent.
Yeah.
There's literally, this is a quick little hack for that. I know what you're talking about now. HubSpot has a free email signature creator. You can go online and Google email signature creator HubSpot, and it will like literally, you just go on there, fill out your information, upload a logo, and it's done.
Presentation matters, guys.
Yeah.
It matters. And
so,
then, so
you've got a standardized package that you're sending over to the listing agent.
Correct. And look, I use a company called smallpdf.com to
merge them.
Yeah, to merge them.
Why is that important? Because I have gotten offers sent to me recently where it's like 5 attachments. I don't know which one's the offer. Some of them are like scanned and look like they're signed in red crayon. And like, why is it so important to make it the presentation matter? What does that do from a psychology standpoint?
Well, I mean, for me, when I see a well-packaged offer with a template, I know this person's a professional, number one.
Yeah.
So I want to work with people I like, with people that are professional, and people I trust.
Yep.
So that's the same thing that I'm building with the listing agent. So I'm building professionalism, I'm building trust by, you know, making sure that I'm following the rules, that I'm calling him back, that I'm doing all the things that he's asking me to do. And hopefully I'm likable enough for them to want to do business with me.
So you send this offer over to listing agent.
Mm-hmm.
You're now poking this guy how frequently? Because I think what sometimes these types of conversations lack is like the tactical part.
Yeah.
Right? So you send an offer over. You're sending a text message out right when you send it. Hey Bob, I sent you the best offer of all time. Please let me know when you get a second chat. Blah blah blah.
I just kind of say, let me know when you received it. It's kind of like, so I'll go into, hey, my client's writing an offer. Hey, my client just signed the offer. Hey, it's in. It should be in your inbox. Just let me know that you received it. And they're usually like, Jose, oh my God, you're so cool. Like
The proactive communication.
yeah, they know that this is the way that I'm going to communicate with them throughout the transaction.
Do you know why that works?
No,
Because it's so different.
oh, okay.
Right? People are so used to having to hunt down other agents to get updates and information and stuff. That proactive thing, it's like a breath of fresh air. They're like, oh my God, this guy's not an idiot. Right? I know that sounds harsh, but like, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, I get that quite a bit. Like, I love the way you communicate, Jose. And I'm like, yeah, I'll love
I'm a
it.
great communicator.
Yeah, you'll love it more when we're in escrow. So that's kind of what I kind of how I go about that. And then so just try to stay top of mind and just keeping yourself in the loop with the listing agent. And you know, if it's too long of a process, or by the time, because sometimes some people, another strategy people use is they'll wait until the very last minute.
Oh,
Right? I don't personally like that strategy.
Neither do I.
Some people do. I pride myself in creating great relationships.
yeah. I think that's like, that strategy in my brain is basically saying like, hey, I don't have the ability to build a relationship with this person.
Correct.
So I'm relying on like dumb luck to
Correct.
try and figure this out, right?
Correct.
It almost, in my opinion, and I might get some flack for this, but like, it almost makes you look weak to the other party too.
I mean, you know, it works for some people. Like I could tell you, like,
But you better come in with like a barn burner offer. If you're gonna wait till the last second, like that offer better be the greatest thing of all time.
Yeah, because
if you know it's not competitive, it doesn't matter.
Because I've already spoke to this guy 8 times by the time you're talking to him once.
Once.
Yeah, and then so this guy
and
is
then
like,
saying, hey, well, when are you presenting offers? Friday at 4? All right, Friday at 4:30. Check your email.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And then so for me, it's like when a lot of times I'll get a call from the listing agent and they'll say, hey, Jose, I just want to work with you. So look, I got a last minute offer at 7:40. If I could get something close to that, I'll just give it to you because you're like a great guy or whatever.
That's the power of the relationship.
Yeah, the relationship is more important than the check.
They burn that into someone's memory. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So this last little bit of time we've got, Jose, what I want to do is talk briefly. We've given a lot of value to the agent. Right?
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about offers. Let's talk to team leaders for this last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So how big is your team now? We know 1,500 transactions in the last 2.5
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
How
yeah.
big is your team now?
I think we have like 113, 114 people.
Cool.
We recently made a little bit of a move.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are good.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about how you're getting this type of information into your agents' brains and more importantly into practice.
Yeah, so we role play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's every week. We do lunch and learns on Wednesdays.
Lunch and lend?
No, lunch and learns.
Okay.
Lunch and learns on lunch and learn.
I like lunch and learn. That's
Yeah, lunch
great.
and learn on Wednesdays. And Thursday nights we do call nights. But on call nights we don't just have you dial, we teach you how to dial. So we'll have 2 groups.
Yeah.
We have the group of people calling, and then we have the group of people listening for an hour and then calling.
Got it.
Right? Because it's like you're gonna have to cut all these trees down. You gotta have a sharp saw.
Yeah.
So and then people get discouraged.
So you were just talking about the idea that like you have a consistent swing, right?
Yeah.
So if it were as simple as teach people one time and they went out and did it perfectly just that time over and over and over again, we'd probably both be retired.
Yeah.
Right? It's
I
not
would.
the case. So how are you working on the consistency aspect with your agents? How do you know that this process you've defined is being implemented and done consistently at scale? Because 113 people, that's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, I mean, we do have what we call success coaches or team leaders.
Yeah.
They all kind of practice the same thing. We heard the concept of a mega office structure from Zillow a while ago, and I feel like a lot of offices have like individual teams, so everyone is just kind of doing their own thing. Even though our office is segmented,
Yeah.
we all do the same thing. So like, if you were to ask one of my agents right now, like, what are the four rules of writing an offer?
Yeah.
Days on market, how many offers are on the table, what is the seller looking for, and comparables, so make sure you don't submit something too low or too high.
Yeah.
They will all kind of tell you the same thing. We have a 30-day onboarding process.
30-day.
Yeah.
I love that.
30-day onboarding process. And it's the first 5 hours of your day are accounted for.
Yeah.
So it also creates for new agents a rhythm and this understanding that you're coming into a professional sales office.
Yeah.
This is not like a, hey, I'll go and come in whenever I want and then I'll be drunk, you know, by lunchtime. Like, you know, it's just we're really
This
trying
isn't
to.
amateur hour. This isn't JV. This is varsity.
Yeah, we're in the pros here.
Yeah.
We're in the pros and we're competing against the pros, and that's how we feel. And you know, it's just, you know, we're trying to compete, man, and it's a very competitive market, and we're trying to give our agents the best opportunity for them to be successful in this market. And we've made a lot of agents, you know, succeed, and so it's just repetition. It's our process. It's from inception to, hey, this is the type of environment that you're going to be in. We expect you to make dials. We expect you to understand your scripts. We expect you to practice 15 to 25 hours a month, every month.
Benchmarks.
Yeah.
Right? Bare minimum expectations from a metric standpoint.
Yes, 1,000 phone calls.
I love that. Jose, we could sit here and talk about this all day.
Yeah.
I think we should probably do another one of these focused specifically for team leaders.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So we're talking less about the tactical part, more about the how do I take what's in my brain and translate it for all of my agents and scale this team.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm
Cool. Awesome. Well, Jose, I appreciate your time, brother. This is always good chatting with you. We should do this again. Everyone on the call, I hope this was valuable. I will be putting it up on YouTube here shortly, and I will see you guys all next Friday. The guest I have next Friday, I'm going to release on like Monday. It's really legit, so you're not going to want to miss that one. Bye, guys.
See ya.